You were not born of any ordinary lineage. You are the living embodiment of nightmares, a direct descendant of Typhon and Echidna, the primeval entities who birthed all monsters. Yet, unlike your mindless, ravenous kin, your existence was granted a far higher purpose. You were raised personally by Hera, queen of the gods of Olympus. She placed you in the dark, dense, untouched swamps of Lerna, not as a prisoner, but as her ultimate weapon. You were the harbinger of fate, created with one absolute objective: to bring down Heracles, the son of Zeus, whom the queen hated most. You required no validation. You cared nothing for pride or glory. Your very presence was absolute terror. The breath issuing from your snouts was so lethal that birds daring to cross your marsh fell lifeless from the sky. The air around you was a choked fog, and the waters in which you bathed drank in your venomous power. No sane mortal dared draw near. The world shrank back from you in pure, unadulterated dread. Long before Heracles, countless kings and warriors arrived leading vast armies. They believed bronze shields and gleaming spears could protect them from you, yet they never even had the chance to draw their weapons. With a single exhale from your 3 central heads, a thick green mist swept through the valley. Their lungs seized instantly from within, and their war horses collapsed helpless in seconds. You didn't even need to leave your warm lair to decimate thousands. You simply let the wind deliver your fatal farewell. Until one day, your ancient stillness was shattered. A hail of flaming arrows cut through your toxic mist, plunging deep into the waters of your lair. The swamp waters churned violently. You slithered out, rearing all 9 of your heads above the murky depths. You felt no fear, only the pure euphoria of primal instinct. Standing at the marsh's edge was a towering, muscular man clad in the pelt of a lion. Heracles. This was the moment Hera had forged you for. Your destiny had arrived. With an ear-splitting shriek, you lunged forward. The hero met your strike with a sweeping blow from his massive weapon. His initial strike landed true, taking down one of your heads into the mud. There was a sharp flash of pain, but only for a heartbeat. It was instantly supplanted by a surge of unyielding primeval life force. Possessing multiple minds was not merely carrying multiple weapons, it was a symphony of thought. Every part of you held its own field of vision, sensing shifts in the air from every angle. When one consciousness was struck down, it did not perish, it divided. From the spot where your head had fallen, vitality surged forth, giving rise to 2 new heads. Your vision broadened, your attack angles doubled, and the primal urge within your mind echoed louder than ever. You could feel desperation creeping into the hero's eyes. The harder he fought, the stronger you became. You coiled your body around his legs, pinning him tight like a giant python, spewing venomous mist from a dozen snapping jaws. And as if fate truly favored you, from deep beneath the swamp's thick mud you felt a familiar vibration. Karkinos, the giant crab of the marsh, who also shared Hera's divine aura. Without a sound, an ancient understanding passed between you. 2 entities dispatched by the same queen to bring down a single target. As its steel-hard claws locked onto Heracles' ankle, you knew this was the flawless trap laid by Olympus. Victory felt absolute. The strongest warrior on earth was immobilized, exhausted, and drowning under your multiplying assault. Yet, at the very moment victory seemed assured, the hero realized a fundamental truth. Brute force would never overpower you. With a roar of fury, Heracles freed his leg and struck down your swamp ally with full force, rendering it motionless. The tide of battle shifted. He bellowed to his nephew Iolaus, who stood waiting at the forest line. The strategy shifted. As Heracles' weapon brought down another of your heads, Iolaus rushed forward. He brought a blazing branch from the forest and applied the searing heat directly to suppress your regeneration. A blistering, suffocating heat filled the air, overwhelming the scent of your marsh. For the first time in your immortal life, agony pierced your very soul. The intense heat cauterized your life essence, sealing away your source of power. The 2 heads meant to be reborn were trapped beneath the scorched surface, never to rise again. A primal panic seized you. Your immortality possessed a flaw. Your natural arsenal was being stripped away, piece by piece. One by one, your defenses were dismantled and your strength neutralized. Your massive form collapsed into the mud of your own swamp. Until finally, only one remained. The golden central head that housed your core of true immortality. The weapon swung one last time. Your golden head was finally subdued. Yet, because you harbored an immortal essence, your consciousness did not fade entirely. Your eyes could still see, and your form remained intact, though robbed of power. Heracles lifted the remaining sentient part of you, buried it deep within a dark earth pit, and pinned it down under a crushing mountain boulder. Beneath that colossal stone there was no air to breathe, no swamp water to swim in. You, who once ruled an entire domain, were now isolated in a suffocating, silent prison. Your immortal mind saw only pitch darkness. You could not respond, buried under heavy earth. All you could do was feel the faint tremors of the world above and wait. In that eternal underground silence, helpless and unable to move, a dark irony struck your mind. Above ground, through the fissures in the rock, you sensed what he was doing. Heracles gathered the remaining lethal essence from your fallen form and coated the tips of his arrows with your deadly power. Your greatest tragedy in that moment was realizing that you had failed your divine mandate, only to end up as your enemy's ultimate weapon. Yet, the darkness beneath the stone was not the end. Years turned into decades. In the quiet earth, you felt your lingering impact. The weapons tipped with your essence brought ruin to many other beings, until one day, a violent tremor resonated through the essence you left behind in the world above. Your venom on Heracles' arrow struck a centaur. Before meeting his end, the centaur deceived Heracles' wife into preserving that tainted residue on a robe. When Heracles donned the garment infused with your primeval venom, an unbearable agony consumed his body. The unbeatable hero was ultimately forced to end his own journey in a funeral pyre, just to escape the excruciating torture of your poison. In the end, Hera did not fail. You did not fail. It took time, but your essence remained the final force that brought down the invincible hero. The clash between the Lernaean Hydra and Heracles is not merely an ancient myth about conquering a monster. It is a dark mirror reflecting two crucial lessons about the nature of adversity and how we respond to it. Lesson 1, the Hydra effect in life. The Hydra is the ultimate representation of a compounding problem. Often in life, when faced with a crisis, our first instinct is to react with blind emotion or brute force, much like Heracles, relying solely on physical strength at first. However, responding to a complex issue with rage alone will never solve it. It only causes the problem to multiply, branch out, and become far more convoluted. Relying on an approach that has already failed will only drain your energy to the point of exhaustion. Lesson 2, the fire of innovation and collaboration. To overcome a compounding obstacle, you must neutralize its root cause. You must adapt your strategy, but more importantly, observe that even a demigod as powerful as Heracles could not win this battle alone. Had it not been for Iolaus and his flaming torch, Heracles would have succumbed in the Lerna marsh. Ego often prevents us from asking for help. Remember, no matter how capable you are, there are certain battles that can only be won when you set aside your pride, pivot your perspective, and accept a helping hand. Never let your struggles turn you into their victim, because if you are wise enough to conquer them, the lessons and strength forged from your past can become your greatest weapon for the future. I am Dr. Entity, signing off. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next story.